swirling. Talk a little bit about what is keeping you motivated through this weird time period, and then what can the listening audience take from that? Because you and I have different ways of approaching how we what gets us up in the morning, as most people do. Coffee, I know, only goes so far.
Yeah. For me, man, I'll be honest, it was tough. The first couple of weeks were really easy because I was in such a good rhythm and groove. And then once I moved back home to Arizona and had spent some time here, it was different because I'm trying to get accustomed to a different environment. I'm home, like we're all home. We're not able to go to a Barnes and Noble or to a coffee shop and post up for a couple of hours and just kind of zen out. So that was tough, especially in the beginning. So I'm a product of it too. Like I was having trouble getting out of bed. I was having trouble staying motivated. I was having trouble doing what I needed to do to be successful. But it all came back to that burning desire. And I think that's where surrounding yourself with really good people is huge, absolutely huge. And so having really good mentors, having good people on my team as well, where we're working together and just hearing different ideas and getting creative too of some ideas that we could use. We've impacted more people through this time than we would have in any of the in-person stuff. As crappy as it is, as financially depressing as it is, where you're like, oh, I could have been set for all year. Like all these things would have been awesome, right? But we wouldn't have been able to impact as many people as we did online in person. So that was a big, big silver lining for at least that kept us motivated to keep doing this, keep pushing out content, keep helping people, and just being a light in a world that was so hateful and so revengeful and so angry at everybody and everyone, and just like giving some tools that can help. So that was a big time deal. But I think for anybody listening out there, like if they're trying to find what really motivates them, like you really need to think on it and get alone. Like get alone for a day or get alone for an hour even if you can, and just write out what it is that drives you. Write out what it is that gives you passion and gives you meaning. Maybe it's your family, your kids, your grandparents, maybe it's your dogs or your TV. I don't know what it is, but whatever like gives you that meaning, think about it. And if it sticks with you for more than 24 hours, it's probably something that's pretty powerful. It's pulling you in some direction. So if you've lost that passion, it's okay. It's okay to lose the passion sometimes. Our flame's going to burn out, but it's important to know how we can reignite that flame. And that's where if you write it out, you get it on paper, you get to see it again. You're like, oh, that is why I'm doing what I'm doing. That is why we did this or we did that, or I moved and made this sacrifice for my family because I want my family to be healthy and successful. So anything like that, I think those are just some simple tools that you can do. And then practice gratitude. You hit it on it earlier, like focusing on what is really good in our life and what we do have rather than what we don't have, and just enjoying those things that are around us and the family time that we get to spend.
Yeah, you touched on the whole fire burning out thing and it being okay. I think we have this false illusion that somehow we're supposed to be on fire all the time in all circumstances, and it's just not true. And I want to shift gears a little bit into social media and what we intake into our psyches, into our minds, into our lives, into our living rooms, and being mindful of the content that we embrace. For example, and this is going to sound horrible at the outset, but I promise it'll make sense. I can log into Instagram and see video after video after video of you being super impassioned and positive, 60 seconds at a time, 90 seconds at a time. And I go, man, Austin's really killing it. Austin's got it going on. And then I instantly go, why don't I? Right. And then I start to have some guilt about that. And maybe I get a little depressed. But the simple fact is Austin's not that all the time. Austin was that for that 60 seconds that he recorded. And yes, you do have a really infectious energy and you're really fun to be around. It doesn't mean that you're doing that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of your life. That would be impossible. That would make you not human. And so I think it's really important to be authentic and honest and transparent while explaining to people, you know what, this isn't me all the time. This is the me that I bring to you so that I can be a blessing in your life, right? And maybe the message to communicate to people is that A, don't compare yourself to a caricaturization online, but also B, it's okay to keep trying and keep succeeding, knowing that with your failure plan, you're going to fall short sometimes. You're going to have these depressive episodes. You're going to have these anxious moods sometimes. And that's okay. That's called being a human. And when we go through this, what do we take from it? What do we learn? How do we improve a little bit more so that eventually I compare this to like a baseline. We're pushing our baseline happiness higher, and the audience can't see me because we're on Zoom, but I'm pushing my hand like higher in the air. If you can picture a graph where like you've got mood on one, on the vertical Y axis, and you've got time on the X axis. Over time, if your mood can gradually improve its baseline, what happens is the ups and downs of the oscillation, like the wave, they also push higher, right? So the lows aren't so low, the highs continue to push a little higher, and that's just becomes your new normal. But going back to social media, I think what I've experienced is that there's so much, you alluded to this too, there's so much rage and resentment and bitterness and toxicity. Like everybody's like staking out their turf and then broadcasting what they want you to hear, almost like they're trying to change minds. And that happened with COVID. It happened with Black Lives Matter. It happens in politics. And there's not a lot of harmony. There's not a lot of peace and togetherness. How are you navigating that for somebody who lives online, tries to push a positive message? Your advertising is certainly through social media for MLU. How are you staying sane? How do you stay healthy with all that spinning around, that chaos?
Well, first of all, it's really tough. It's really tough. It's tough for all of us as human beings. We're attached to it. Quite frankly, we're all attached to our phones. But something that's really, really, really helped me is to just not look at it. I'll scroll through, and I was telling you earlier, like just give the people that I care about like a love tap, which I just consider a like or a comment or something where I'm like, great job, congratulations, something positive on their feed to hopefully help them and give them something like some sort of spark of energy, just to let them know, hey, I love you, I'm care for you, I'm thinking about you, I see you. Other than that, like the other stuff, I'll either unfollow them, get rid of them, however that is. And mind you, I still fall into the trap sometimes of just mindlessly scrolling through on Twitter. It's usually like a weekend too, of course, but you're like laying there, you're like, oh, I'm just going to go check it out and read. Well, then you start reading, you get more and more pissed, and you get down this rabbit hole of, I hate these people, and these people did this to me, and this sucks, and I can't stand my life. So just a little thing that I just try to use it for a positive platform, just to help. And if the message resonates with you that day, I hope it does. If it doesn't, all good. But I'm going to keep blasting them out there as much as I can. And whether it's video or a text or just a quote of somebody else or something, an image even, just giving out things that are a light to people's lives. And I think it's really easy to get jealous or to see stuff of other people where you're like, gosh, that chick has a bikini bod out the wazoo. Like, I don't have that bod. Or like some dude's like freaking pumping like 400 pounds, and I don't care about pumping 400 pounds ever, but you're like, oh my gosh, how are they so strong? Well, what am I doing, right? You mentioned earlier, what am I doing? And guess what? You're running your own race, and you have your own path to where you're going. Not everybody has to do it the exact same way, but for me, it's just, hey, let's just spread some love and positivity, help people, and then try and stay as much as possible out of the noise of falling into, I'm going to check every story, I'm going to do this. If you have to, put the people that you care about on your thing, or just follow the people you care about. Or put timers for yourself. Like in the morning, I'm going to use it for 30 minutes. In the evening for 30 minutes, and at night for 30 minutes. That's my time to go on there. For this block of time, I will go on social media. It doesn't work for me. It's really hard, especially with what I'm doing. But maybe it works for you where you're like, okay, after I hang out with my family for this 2-hour block, I got 30 minutes to just lose my mind on social media. And maybe that's just posting or doing something, but give yourself that time and then debrief from there. So there's a few things that have helped, but I think it's really, really hard. It's the toughest thing in the world to do. You just got to know what your values are and know what you care about.
I really like that you are intentionally producing positive and uplifting content because it sounds to me like you're other-centered. And I got to believe that flies in the face of the way social media are designed. Those media platforms are designed to make it about self, not other. You can think of and it's about like immediate too, right? So like think of the names: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, even my space. Like it's all like self-centered. Yeah, yeah. Austin just did the brain exploding pantomime with his hands.
Wisdom nugget of the day,
Yeah,
Jay.
there you go. Yeah. So it's like, make it about me and do it quickly. And it's like, whoa, what, in Twitter by design, I mean, it started out as 140 characters. Now it's all the way up to 280, but now people can just add to their tweets. So it's like getting this like long screeds. You can do, multiple pages of narrative. But even Twitter was supposed to be brief. So I think that's all just compressed our attention span and made more content available. And our brains aren't designed for it. Positive or negative, doesn't matter. We just can't intake and process that much content and still be healthy on the other side. It fries us. But I really like that you've set your intentionality to be other centered, because that's a completely different paradigm shift from what the platforms are even intended to be. They're intended to advertise self to others, not focus on others and uplift them and encourage them and edify them. So good on you, because that provides a two-way buffer. One, you don't get sucked into other people's stuff. And two, you're elevating, right? It's really hard. Like when we talk about people who are struggling with depression, it's really hard to be depressed when you're focusing on other people. It's really easy when you're focused on yourself and, what do I not have, and what did I miss out on, and where am I supposed to be that I'm not? And, but if you're focusing on other people and just giving your love and energy to them, not to the point that it's self-detrimental, right? Not giving away all your resources and inviting 17 people, to live in your home with food you don't have, but, focusing your attention and energy on others such that you're being a blessing rather than taking. I think that's really, really cool. Or you could just do what I did, which is delete them all off your phone. I was operating under this false presumption that I was online only for news, right? Like I can't find news anywhere else. And I just deleted everything about a week ago, Monday morning, about 8:00, pulled off Twitter, pulled off Reddit, pulled off Instagram. I'm not on Facebook anyway, but about 3 hours later, about 11:30, I was feeling healthy again. And so far, we're about 9 days in, and it's worked brilliantly. And I get the news that I need to see, and somehow it finds its way to me. So there are multiple ways to keep yourself healthy and not get pulled into everybody else's, toxicity.
100%.
Appreciate you saying that.
That's huge.
As you were working your way through this stuff and trying to be, trying to edify others and uplift other people, I mean, you really made that your life. At what point, I guess, do you say, all right, I got to take me time? And what does that look like?
That's been the hardest thing. It's been the hardest thing for me. And I've started to do this more now during this pandemic. That's why this has been a big blessing, because it's allowed not only myself, but I think a lot of other people in the world to see how important having some time for you is. So something I've always done, and I kind of used to rush it, but I've tried to like really milk it now in the mornings. Spend time on yourself. Like that first hour of the day is all my personal development. So meditation, Bible, scripture, I'd say a prayer, and then cold shower, the things that help me be the best version of me for the world. And so that's that first hour. And then I go work out almost every single day. It's roughly 5-6 times a week on the week, because I know that it's going to help me be the best version of me. And it helps me feel good. If I feel good, I'm going to be better for other people. So if I can feel better every day, I feel more productive. I feel like I'm helping myself out too. So I think you got to start with helping yourself first, and really just focusing on what it is that you can do first thing in the morning to give yourself that space, and know that if it's not everything in life is that urgent. It's not that urgent to make the 1,000 calls. It's not that urgent to send 1,000 emails. It's not that urgent to send all these crazy Facebook ads. And while in the moment, it might seem like if you just do this one thing, it's going to turn everything around. Like, no, it is not at all. I think Tony Robbins, was the one that said it, but it was a lot of people think that you can do more in a year than you can in 5 years. But in reality, you can do more in 5 years than you could ever do in a year. Cram into 1 year, and it's like, it's so true. So something that's really helped me is, hey, not get so caught up in all these like action tools that I need to do. And like, you need to do this, you need to do that. And it's a day-to-day battle, but like, you need to do that, you need to do this. Like, be okay with being alone. Like, be okay with with enjoying some time for yourself. Be okay with just hanging out by the pool for 30 minutes and like getting away. Like life isn't going to go crazy if you're not